Does your sewing machine intimidated you? Be honest, because when I first started, I was terrified. Not just of messing up, but was something way worse, sewing through my fingers. I'm Mireille Pegu, founder of So Smart, and trust me, I have been there. I remember starting at my mom's sewing machine, too scared to turn it on. And when I finally did, let's just say things did not go as planned. No finger were armed, but my stitches, a disaster. Sewing is actually way easier than you think. Once you have the right guide, I wish I had the step-by-step tutorial like this when I started. So today, I am walking you through exactly how to set your sewing machine and how to use it so you can start stitching with confidence today. Tell me in the comment what your biggest fear about using a sewing machine. And if you are ready to finally conquer it, hit the like button and let's dive in. If you just unbox your sewing machine and have no idea what anything does, don't panic. I've got you. Today, we will go through the key part of your sewing machine
so you can start feel comfortable and confident.
And don't worry, by the end of this video, you will know exactly what each part does and how to start using it. Let's start with the essential part of your sewing machine and see what they do. The power cord and the foot pedal to power on and to put to the side of the sewing machine. The power switch to turn on and off. On wheel to move the needles up and down manually. Press a foot to hold the fabric, and most of the sewing machines come with the standard presser foot installed, like this one. The bobbin case to store the bottom bobbin here. These are the five most essential part of the sewing machine, in my opinion, you need to know first. Now let's talk about other important element of the sewing machine. The feed dog here. Help move the fabric while sewing so the stitching are not in the same spot. The control panel, we have 5. The stitching type, stitch length, stitch width, needle position, and tension. The stitch type control panel, we have the straight stitching and the zigzag stitching, which are the most common use. The length stitch panel, the standard one is 2.5 or 3 mm. Weight control panel is most important for the zigzag stitching. The needle position here, it's important to change the position needle. The last control panel is for the tension for the top bobbins. The other important element in your sewing machine is the reverse level to back stitching, to secure the stitching, to not be unveiled. Before we start sewing, take a moment to touch to locate the part of your sewing machine. Spend a minute getting familiar with the names and location of each part. Move the arm wheel and see how the needles move without the foot pedal. What's the part of your sewing machine that confuses you the most? Tell me below, I read every comment. Alright, now that we know the basic, let's thread this machine so we can start sewing.
Place the thread on the bobbin pin and we secure it with the caps like this. And then we follow just the number and the arrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, and the little arrow here. And now we put the thread in the needle from the front to the back.
To sew, our machine needs the upper thread and the bobbin thread. Now I will show you how to load the bobbin thread. I will show you how I wound the thread on the bobbin. Here I have the option to add another spoon. There, put more bobbin, I fold it, and then I put the thread, the hole like this, and I push on like this, and then when I push like this, I disengage the needle here. Be sure that this needle is disengaged in your sewing machine, and then cut here and here, and our bottom bobbin is winded. Now we install the bobbin in the bobbin case following this draw. Like this. Lift the thread up. I use the wheel here to pull up the bottom thread. You will see, and bring it up like this.
Now you grab both threads and pull them to the back. And just like that, your sewing machine is threaded, ready to go.
When threading our sewing machine, there are big beginner mistakes we should avoid. Mistake number 1, keeping the threading guide. It might be tempting to just wing it, but trust me, follow your machine threading guide. Why is keeping our threading guide is a problem? 1, it causes uneven stitching. Incorrect threading affects how the thread moves through the machine. It leads to thread tangling and breakage. If the thread isn't in the tension disc properly, it can bunch up under the fabric and snap stitching. Number 3, create frustration sewing jams. The thread can get caught inside the machine, forcing you to retread your everything from the scratch. How to avoid this mistake? Always follow numbers and arrow on your sewing machine and double check each step before moving on. Mistake number 2, not winding the bobbin correctly. Think of the bobbin as the foundation of your stitches. If it's not wound correctly, everything else will fall apart. Why not wounding our bobbin correctly is a problem? 1, because it causes loose and unveiled winding, weak stitching. If the thread isn't wound evenly, your stitching may look inconsistent or even unraveled. 2, bobbin wound too tight, snapping thread. This puts too much tension on your stitching and can cause breakage while sewing. 3rd, forgetting to disengage the needles. If you don't move the bobbin winder to the correct position, your needle will keep moving while winding, which is safety hazard. How to avoid this problem? Hold the thread lightly at the start, ensure even winding. 2, use the built-in thread cutter if available in your sewing machine to keep excess thread out of the way. Make sure bobbin is wound fully and placed correctly in the bobbin case. If this helped make the threading easier for you, hit the like button and save this video for later. Now that we threaded, let's move on to choosing our stitch setting. Now that our machine is set up and threaded, it's time to sew your first stitches. But before we dive into fabric, we are going to start with something even easier: paper. Before sewing on fabric, let's warm up with the exercise that will help you gain confidence and control. Sewing on paper, no thread required. Grab a printed sewing practice sheet. You can get mine in my free coaching program in the link below in the description. Follow the straight line by sewing on the paper without thread. Then try curvy line and zigzag to improve control. Sewing on paper is a great way to practice without wasting fabrics. The machine works the same, but you can focus purely on movement and precision. Using a scrap fabric can be your second option. Use any cotton or linen. These are beginner friendly. Draw a line, a straight line, a curved line on the fabric using the fabric chalk. Practice stitching over the line slowly, focusing on guiding, not pulling. With little practice, you will get confidence in controlling the fabric under the needle. You practice on paper the straight stitching. Straight stitching is the foundation of the sewing. I lower the presser foot like this to hold my paper. Gentle push below. the reverse to secure. And then you can see the hole is on the line. Now I will try the curve. I try my best with one hand. You can see I should have followed the curve like this, but with one hand it's okay. Now we will practice the straight stitching on our cotton fabric. I draw the line. I will be stitching here. I insert my fabric and lower my presser foot. And I grab the two threads before start stitching. And then I reverse back stitching to secure. I just guide the fabric. I'm not pulling. The feed dog is doing the work. And I'm looking the thread, the line. Do not look the needles. Needles go do the same thing in the same time. So I just look in the thread. Right. Now we practice the sample curve. Curve stitches may seem tricky, but here how to do it. You can draw the line here and follow the line. What I would do, I would just use the edge to. So I will insert my fabric. I will lower the presser foot, align with the edge, and I will look in here the edge, not the needle. I will gently press the foot pedal. Just look at here. I'm not looking my needle. And I lift my presser foot and turn the wood. Pull out the fabric back and cut here. This is how is it? This is the back. Now let's talk about beginner sewing mistake and how to avoid them. We'll talk about 3 sewing mistakes. Sewing mistake number 1, sewing too fast. It's tempting to press the pedal all the way down, but going too fast can cause wobbling stitching and less of control. Why going too fast is a problem? 1, stitches become uneven and messy. 2, harder to control the fabric placement. 3, mistakes happen faster, leading to seam ripping. How to avoid this mistake? Start slow, build speed gradually. Think of it like learning to drive. Better to go steady than crash into stitching chaos. Mistake number 2, pulling the fabric instead of guiding it. Your machine has built-in feed dog to move the fabrics. Your job is to guide the fabric. Why pulling the fabric is a problem? Can distort stitching, making them uneven. Pulling too hard can cause fabric puncturing. Can even break the needles if the tension is off. How to avoid this? Let the machine do the work. Keep your hands lightly resting on the fabric and focus on guiding, not pulling. Mistake number 3, forgetting to lower the presser foot. This is one of the most common beginner mistakes. Forgetting to lower the presser foot before sewing. Why is it a problem? The fabric won't stay in place and move around. Stitches will be loose and messy. The thread might be tangled underneath and hello for seam ripping. How to avoid this problem? Make it a habit before pressing the foot pedal. Always check that the presser foot is down. If you have made any of these mistakes, don't worry. We have all been there. The important thing is to practice, adjust, and keep going. What's been the hardest part of sewing your first stitches? Tell me in the comments below. Now that we have practiced, let's move into the first wheel project. You did it. Now that you know how to set up and use your sewing machine, you are officially ready to start sewing. But to make things even easier, I have created a free coaching program you can check down the link below and grab yours. Now that you can use your sewing machine, let's talk about mastering your stitching. In the coming video, we will go over the best beginner stitching and how to sew them beautifully. You have got this, and remember, at Sew Smart, we made sewing simple. Don't forget to subscribe to turn on the notification so you don't miss next lesson in the Sew Ready series.